in order for anything in the body to sort of change, I have to make space. If I want more strength, more flexibility, or just to sort of find the sensation or find the kind of essence in any particular movement, I have to allow for it to happen.
Hello, my name is Eline Perez and you're listening to Are You an Artist? Today's episode is with Elliot Minogue-Stone, and it's about contemporary dance, the art of making space, and how sharing can be more powerful than teaching. Elliot brought such a calm energy to the conversation, and together we laughed, we questioned and reflected. Enjoy! Dear Elliot, I remember taking one of your dance classes in Brussels. I was traveling at the time and I just started this podcast. That was over a year ago, and I hadn't danced in a while, but I really enjoyed your teaching and the warm, open energy you brought into the room. Your Instagram bio reads, artistic buffoonery, here for attention and validation. It made me smile. It's honest, funny, and somehow says a lot without trying too hard. You dance, you sing, you play music, and probably more that I haven't even discovered yet. I'll admit, I still haven't made it to one of your performances, and I feel a bit guilty about that. So thank you for being here today. I'm really glad we get to have this conversation. Elliot, are you an artist?
Is that the opening? That's
Yes,
the opening question.
Exactly, that's the first one.
Wow.
As a warm-up.
Yeah. Totally. No, thank you so much for reaching out. And yeah, I'm so impressed by people doing anything, actually, sincerely, because it's so hard to make anything happen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is such an amazing, space that you're kind of carving out for people to speak about process and this, thing of how. I guess it's something I return to a lot. But anyway, what's the question? Am I an artist?
Yes, are you an artist?
I try.
Yes.
I devote time to the attempt. Certainly. But I'm not sure it's something that I either achieve or not. It's like an ongoing kind of process, an ongoing quest of curiosity. Or that's how I try to come to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because anything that feels too sort of goal orientated, of course, this is like a central part of actually making art. But nonetheless, I try and park that as much as possible, sort of leave it to one side and be like, okay, I'm just gonna wake up again and do this again.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something quite grounding in the commitment to process.
Yes.
That I try, but it's not always a success.
Yes.
I had a week a few weeks ago of this challenge of freelancing and sort of all of these other administrative things and more production things came up and just took sort of all my time that week. So that was a week where I really wasn't an artist. But it's okay, you know.
Yeah.
It's how it is.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's such a nice opening question.
It's such a nice answer as well.
Really?
Yeah, I feel very touched. And I notice it when I go to Brussels, actually, that there is so much interest in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, here it feels a lot about the result.
Totally.
And then I feel like I've failed.
Yeah.
Because I practice every day, but I don't necessarily perform. And it is a relief to see people who are genuinely researching things.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm very interested in that as well.
Yeah.
Do you remember how it started for you, this interest for performance, dance, music?
Yeah. Well, I suppose it came in some ways as a reaction to my total failure of academic, I had no academic skill, really.
Okay.
That's not entirely true, but I wasn't, regular schooling wasn't something I could connect to very well.
Where did you grow up again?
I grew up in London.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in North London, and my parents as well, which feels like I'm some kind of exotic creature in this city. And it's one of the things I love about London, the diversity, and everyone's from everywhere. But yeah, anyway, being in London, I suppose having access to culture is really important. So yeah, I started some like local kind of dancing classes. My parents both work in the arts. So there was a kind of natural
What do they do?
Well, they work primarily in stand-up comedy, actually.
Wow. Your parents.
My parents, this is the family business.
That's
strangely. And they've been doing that a long time.
Wow.
And I sort of guess I grew up, I mean, it's a very adult space, stand-up comedy.
Yes.
Yeah. In a family, I remember conversations about language and about politics and about sort of life, actually. Because on some level, my dad, who is the stand-up out of the two of them, and my mum does more sort of producing and, I mean, many other things. It's a sort of limited description. But I remember many conversations about things and about how to sort of turn these random ideas into jokes or into a kind of, whole show, actually. And I guess my parents understood the importance of just going to do stuff. And I had a lot of energy, I think, as a kid.
Yeah.
I had a desire to sort of jump and move around.
Yeah.
So I guess dance was an obvious place to put me to sort of expend some energy.
Of course.
But in the midst of this, I was also engaging with, music stuff and bits of acting as well. And I guess I was sort of just interested in this kind of theatrical expression, really. And it felt like such a nice escape from a very sort of square world and square view of education. And I think it's Charlie Morrissey, the dancer, I'm going to paraphrase him now, but described like his kind of pull to dance somehow as like escaping from a very sort of heteronormative space.
Yeah.
And I definitely identified with that as well, of the arts. Not necessarily really having labels or terms or any of these, feelings about identity or about sexuality or whatever, but finding a space which didn't feel so sort of fixed, actually, or had more fluidity.
Exactly. I remember when I arrived here, everything was so fluid, and I was like,
yeah,
is this possible?
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea before.
Yeah, it makes such a difference to just have the moment of like understanding the possibility. So, yeah.
And so you went to school until 18, or you...
I left normal school at 16. I went to a dance school from then on called Lewisham College, which doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
Or I think the college exists. I'm not sure the dance program does, which I think is a tragedy, really. But that's maybe another podcast about the state of further education in the UK right now. But yeah, anyway, so I went there. I mean, in amongst sort of youth projects, and I was already had a few choreography opportunities. I really benefited from the enormous opportunity that exists in London. Then I went to college and then went to dance school, to university afterwards, initially in London, down the road at the place. And then I left to go to Belgium to study at the Conservatoire there in Antwerp.
Do you remember why you wanted to move to Belgium? Is it because of the Conservatoire, or...?
It was partly, yeah. It was all studying dance. I think I felt quite frustrated by the dance sort of community in London.
Yeah.
I guess I had this sort of slightly peculiar fantasy about Europe being this space of like paid residencies and artists owning houses in cities and this sort of space where there seemed to be time, which was obviously like a bit delusional. But I think you need a bit of delusion to make any big decision somehow. So yeah, I guess I embraced that delusion. Although it was very chaotic in my planning of it. I remember the summer before I moved to Belgium, my mother was very stressed because I sort of couldn't really organize anything. I think I just had to go and figure it out.
Yes.
So I suppose it was a combination of me wanting a sort of change in my life a bit, or feeling a bit stuck by this push into sort of very goal-orientated sort of stuff in London.
That's so true.
And that I was really curious about what was happening in Belgium and what was happening in this school specifically, there seemed like a layer of physicality to the training, which I'd never encountered in the UK, really.
Yeah.
So that felt sort of thrilling. Voila. So then I went and I did that education. And by the time I'd finished that, I'd done 6 years of full-time dance training. So then I was I was done for a bit. It was like, that's enough. It's enough ballet for the moment. I mean, I do still do ballet sometimes, but no, actually ballet wasn't even my issue. It was more you
can't choose the
tired.
classes.
You can't choose. Yeah, you have very little agency, and you're in these sort of small groups of people, and you're always making work, always feeling like you're auditioning. This is another sort of topic maybe, but it's a sort of high pressure, exhausting space, I found.
Yes.
Any kind of deeply physical dance education. And then I graduated and I've been freelancing since.
And you live between London and Brussels?
I try.
How do you do that?
I mean, I'm very lucky. I have family in London, so I can support that. And I have my flat out in Brussels. It's really not easy, but it is the kind of balance I found to be semi-successful. I have a lot of love for Belgium and for Brussels, but it is a strange city, I find. And there's something so irresistible about London, which does sort of keep pulling me back. And I really have a wish to maintain some kind of life here.
What do you find strange in Brussels?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think Brussels has the feeling of a very disjointed place. I would say it's a very fragmented city. And one could say this about London as well, but I find a cohesion in London which I do not encounter in Brussels.
Maybe you're right, yeah.
I mean, it's a very personal feeling. And I have a lot of love for Brussels as well.
It's almost like here it's so mixed.
It is so mixed.
That you can't, you have to live with each other. And maybe in London it's pushed to such an extreme that it has to happen.
Possibly, yeah.
And it's quite natural. And maybe, I don't know. That's interesting.
I guess there's also like the whole Belgian state is a project of collaboration, really. And actually, you could say that about the UK as well, and you could say that about many Western European states. But I suppose in Belgium, you really feel it somehow, even in the fabric of the city about, like in Brussels, I live just by the South Station, and it's sort of in this like triangle almost between communes. So it's this quite sort of forgotten part of the city. And I don't observe the same will to kind of collaborate and to sort of find some kind of peace and community in this city.
Yeah.
In Brussels, I mean. And so it can feel quite forgotten because there is less of this care, I think.
Yeah.
So this makes it a sort of challenging city to be in. Also very rich, very interesting. And I enjoy Brussels because there is more space and there isn't the pressure of a capital city in the same way.
Yeah.
But you have the sense of buzz and you have things happening. And but it's also a choice of sanity. I think I'm quite a jumpy person, like not so settled in things. So there's a moment where...
That's why you dance.
This maybe exactly. In body and in mind. So I'll get to sort of 4 or 5 weeks in one place, London as well, and I'll go, I need to go. I need to just need something else. You know? So I'm not very good at this. Something very regular.
Do you still have friends?
Yes, I do. I mean, it's work.
Yes.
I suppose in Brussels, I know many people who live this kind of life.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas in London, people are more sort of
they're either
fixed into their London.
Or they are
exactly.
out forever.
Yeah, completely. Yes. Whereas in Brussels, I know it's like half the sort of city almost is.
And it's such in the
out.
middle of everything. You can travel and work in different places. It's still in the European Union. So yeah, it is.
Yes, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why did you decide to train in dance rather than in music or acting or?
Well, I think I really liked the physical part. That was really exciting. I enjoyed that dance training had like community kind of built in,
Yeah.
which actually sort of theatre training does as well, I think, in many ways. But I was always struck at how I perceived musicians to live quite a lonely life. Or that there are just many hours spent alone with your instrument.
Yes.
And I also experienced that maybe as a musician as well.
You play the piano, right?
I play the piano and I sing. I also enjoyed those moments, but that I think I wanted as my kind of base, maybe.
Something
More social. Or I really enjoyed the learning with other people. It's also complicated to learn with other people. But there was something about that community thing that I enjoyed, and the physical training, and how contemporary dance, which is what I studied, has this sort of flexibility to it often, which I was really excited by, that this could be an art form that could encompass so much, actually.
Yeah.
Or that because of its kind of vague boundaries and definitions, I could, although I mean, you know, with greater or lesser success, I could, you know, like reshape it and reform it into something that I was interested in.
Yeah. And when you create something, how do you do it? How does it start, the first idea, and what's your process?
These are amazing questions. This is just like, this is such a gift. And I'm really, I want to ask everyone I know these questions.
It's really interesting.
I want all of these answers. Gosh, where do I start from? Well, I try and like make space. I've been having this thought process for a long time, and it comes from a physical practice, actually, of like, in order for anything in the body to sort of change, I have this perception that I have to make space. And that might be lengthening or shortening, but if I want more strength, more flexibility, or just to sort of find the sensation or find the kind of essence in any particular movement, I have to allow for it to happen. So I suppose that's sort of very subconsciously where I start, from a place of like, how do I make space for possibility? And then I guess I'm one of these people who I think I'm quite easily sort of distracted. But it means there's a lot like happening in my head at any one time. So it's in these like liminal moments where I can think, oh, maybe there's this. And it usually starts as such a fragment. This is one of the things I've found really difficult in kind of taking any artistic process or practice I might have and sort of transforming it into something where I can go and ask for money or apply for things, is that my initial idea feels so ephemeral, or is like one snippet of a sketch of a vision. But yeah, it's in those in-between moments of like sitting on the bus or about to fall asleep or whatever that I might go, that, what about that? It usually is sort of framed as that kind of question of like, what if I mix this and this? Or what if these go like this? Or whatever. And then there's some process of like, how do you have it like meet an art form that I do? Which I suppose I have lots of choice, but not everything should be everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a terrible sentence. But yeah, so any process I have for written project is going to be different. But then there's also just the sort of going into a space and doing, which I also really love. And for me, it's usually a combination of going in with a sort of, you could say, a research question, I suppose. I'm aware that language is sort of complex or has other kind of connotations, or that's like, I don't know, my parents would never think about their artistic process like that at all.
Oh, wow.
They wouldn't think about having a research question because it's a different form, but I think they do still. So in other words, like, however you think about what you do, one could apply that. But yeah, I hope that's sort of an answer.
Yeah, that's
that
really
felt
interesting.
Quite like all over the place.
But it's a bit like, I don't know, any creative process is a bit all over the place anyway. So it's
I hope
really...
so. I hope people's processes are all over the place. Yeah, because I think it means it's sort of honest.
Yes.
I'm always a bit suspicious of
something that's too clean.
Something that's, or too sort of sharp or refined, or you go like, what happened? I mean, it can be, of course. And there's bits of art that I have seen or watched or heard, whatever, that feel very refined, but I am quite attracted to something slightly unsettled or unfinished or still some place where I can see process. It's really satisfying.
Yeah. And how did you learn to play the piano and to sing? Is that something you've done since you were a child?
No, I have. I mean, it's something I took a lot of space from while I was doing my dance training or didn't. Yeah, my ongoing frustration these days of like, there's only so many hours in a week to do all my practicing of stuff. And like, I'm learning to drive at the moment. Very delayed. More because I just kept putting it off and was never in one place, as I explained, for any more than sort of 4 weeks. And that made it sort of quite difficult. It's like another thing in my week to practice. And so I, arrive at the end of my week and I go, oh, yeah, right. How do I sort of fit in space for this? But I guess I started one of my mother's many offshoots in her career, which has had a lot of different phases. The thing she actually went to university for was jazz singing and sonic art.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, there was a sense of music being around the house.
Yeah.
And I went to for many years as a child, I went to a piano teacher called Ruth Franks, who was an amazing piano teacher and who really managed to instill in me the value of groove.
Wow.
And I think she's an amazing pianist and singer as well. And not necessarily with the most kind of flashy technical sort of skill.
Yeah.
It was, sort of doing jazz piano stuff more. And I guess there's a faction of the jazz community that has this sort of wish for these deeply kind of technical and extremely challenging sort of interpretations. And then I guess there's another sort of faction, which is maybe faction probably that I belong to, which is more groove focused somehow. And it's a really hard thing to sort of put one's finger on in understanding what does that sound like, But yeah, she was a great piano teacher. And I guess it's this kind of what in dance you might call embodiment.
Yeah.
And yeah, people would say things to me like, oh my God, he's born to do this. And I don't think I was born to do anything really, but it was people, I suppose, picking up on this sense of like settling into something.
And maybe the sense of space again.
Space, yeah. Fuck. Sorry. I don't know. I'm not
it's not a radio, that's fine.
Suddenly caught myself. Yeah, exactly. It's like, how do you make space for possibility? Perhaps.
Whoa. I'm very curious because I just started to learn to play the guitar and to sing as well.
Okay, how's it going?
I'm super beginner.
Yeah.
And I think my voice has been repressed for a very long time as well.
Right.
So it's very hard, but it's really interesting to come from the body and try to make the space and to feel the body in a different way. And I love it.
How are you doing your learning?
So it's a bit chaotic.
Yeah. Great.
I think I started with, you had these apps that you could just like kind of sing and they tell you like what's your voice range and stuff.
Ah, yeah, okay.
And then I have a lot of friends who are actually singers.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was an opera singer and I just took one class with him, but I have other friends I want to take classes with. And then I just record myself and hear it.
Amazing.
And YouTube tutorials and
No, it's so great. It's such a great way to engage because I think a lot of people feel, especially with singing, it's one that has so much charge, I think, for everyone.
Exactly.
People have an experience of a choir in school or a music teacher being, ungenerous, let's say. And then we kind of, we internalize it because it is, that's what I love about singing. There is something inherently vulnerable about it. And no, it's great. I'm fascinated in how also, as an adult, how you kind of return to art or you like start something new. Yeah. I just think, wow, it's such because it can be a slog. It can be hard. Yeah. A teacher who I had in the conservatory used to speak about like learning being uncomfortable. And I remember hearing this and thinking, wow, that makes so much sense for me. That I do love learning, but I also can find it quite uncomfortable. Or there's a sort of awkwardness in...
And I think I really like to be good at things.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
And when you learn something like this, you really, really suck.
You have to be not good for a bit.
You start I was so bad. I would listen to the thing and I'm like, how can I ever even just sing okay, like just not be so ashamed at my voice. And hey, it takes so much time, but I think it brings me so much joy as well that it's kind of worth investigating.
Totally.
So, and I think it's such a comfortable thing to then do something that you're more used to do, like dancing, because you can feel it in a different way, but you're more familiar with, and it's like it's very interesting. Yeah. And acting, is that something that you're still interested in?
Yeah. I mean, in some way, I did also quite a bit of acting as a kid or as a young person. I mean, I'm still youngish, but I was a member of the National Youth Theatre.
Oh wow!
Of the Great Britain. I don't quite know how that happened. No, but you see, I know, but it was one of these auditions that I remember where it was. It was in the Methodist Church in Archway. This is some very niche North London information for you, but it used to, for anyone who knows Archway from over 10 years ago, it used to be like a roundabout and there was like buildings in the middle, but because it was such a big roundabout on a main road, the buildings kind of felt like this sort of almost forgotten part because they were sort of in the middle of this roundabout. They've pedestrianised it now and it all feels more accessible. But anyway, when I went and did my audition, I remember having to sort of cross into this island and in this old sort of church, and I remember there was a a group part, and then I had to do some monologues. And I suppose I came in with not a sense of like ennui, but a sort of it was like,
it's the best way to go to an audition in acting.
I was quite nonplussed by it.
You were blasé.
I was extremely blasé, and I guess but I was surprised because I think I struggled to see myself depicted generally in art. I couldn't connect to a lot of the roles, and maybe that was why I was sort of tentative into acting stuff, into theatre, because there was this sense of becoming sort of someone else. And that's fine if you can project yourself into what the options are.
Yeah.
But I sort of couldn't at that point, or it felt like...
How old were you?
I was maybe 16 or 17.
Yeah, so teenager.
I was a teenager, like a young queer teenager.
Yeah.
Not so long ago, but the world has changed a lot since I was 16.
Yes.
And you have so much more queer programming now, but there just wasn't when I was a kid at all. The world felt very heterosexual.
But even now, sometimes you go to the cinema, it's crazy.
It's true. Yeah.
The roles are always kind of the same, and it's...
Yeah, or like, I don't know, the leading men are meant to have a certain... Yeah, there's something like vacuous about, or like a bit empty.
Yeah.
Beautiful and empty. And I suppose I identified as neither, perhaps, and wasn't very interested in like trying to become
emptiness.
That. Yeah.
You wanted space, not...
I wanted space, not emptiness, and there is a difference. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, that was that.
Successful audition then, and
good audition. Yeah, and I went and did the sort of little training course they have, and but then I don't know, it was a sort of one moment, then I went back into more dance stuff. And I guess I'm on this ongoing sort of quest to find a way back to everything.
Yeah.
To find a way to sort of bring stuff together, but it's not easy.
Is it because you're looking for validation?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, on some level, yeah. I mean, this is the Instagram sort of stuff. I feel Instagram is such a peculiar place.
Yeah, that's why I love that you put that out. Because I'm like, thank God someone is saying it.
Well, I think we have a weird relationship with ego and with attention and with validation generally in society, and as artists also.
Yeah.
And I see so much content on Instagram have this sort of wish for validation. Like, I can see that's what you want,
Yeah.
And instead of, I have a few friends that totally reject it.
Yeah.
Be like, no, I'm not on Instagram, I can't do this. And I have a lot of respect for that choice.
Yeah.
For me, there's something still fascinating about that sort of space, and does prove to be quite helpful at moments.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose, I'm like, how can we be more honest
about
what this is?
Yeah.
And we all want attention. And I'm definitely looking for validation because validation feels great.
Yeah.
And that, maybe it's okay that these things maybe it doesn't come from this like perfect, honest place.
Genuine.
Or maybe the two meet somewhere.
Yeah.
I guess that's my
That's so
philosophy
interesting.
in it.
It's kind of a very healthy way to see it, I feel like. Because I have a bit of love and hate relationship with Instagram, and I'm not sure where I sit right now. I kind of stopped it for a bit and now I'm back. But yeah.
I mean, I guess there are two parts. There's like, obviously what you put out yourself.
Exactly.
And then there's the weirdness of like what everyone else is doing and how you relate to that.
Yeah.
And also just the violence of the 21st century is like wrapped up into Instagram, or the violence and what I consider to be like over sexuality. That's it's another conversation, but like that everything is like violent or sexy or somehow both or like deeply disorientating. I'm like, this is deeply weird, guys.
That's so true.
But yeah.
But here we are.
Here we are. And like, it is what it is. And there's definitely sort of interesting stuff there. And I do see it as a potential leveling tool. I mean, I don't think it always works this way, but I do think you have access to community. It gives you voice. Of course, there's so many caveats about like how you use it, which then affects the content, affects your audience and all of these things. And you definitely cannot post about anything. And that also comes with its benefits and its limitations. And but I don't want to totally write it off just yet.
And you're also a teacher.
Well, yes, I suppose. I mean, I had this idea in my head that I wouldn't start teaching until I was 30.
Oh.
Because I'm now 27. When I was in Antwerp, I came across, it's kind of a workshop style training. So they don't have many people in their regular faculty. And it means freelancers are coming in and bringing their practice, which was part of the reason why I went. Because I was really excited by that kind of frame of teaching that felt closer to the field.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, you're a freelancer. You're coming in to teach for 2 weeks and then you're going off somewhere else and you're in creation and you're not either being a teacher or being a dancer. Like there was more sort of fluidity, which I liked. But it came with a challenge, which was being taught by a lot of people who hadn't yet developed some kind of pedagogical philosophy.
Yeah.
And at times that was really destructive, actually, or really dangerous in the context of an education. So I came at it with a lot of space of being tentative. But of course, the class that you took was part of a bigger project called Accompany class in Brussels, which is a kind of nomadic dance training sort of center that a few of us started because we wanted accessible, free, sort of low stakes morning class to go to.
Yeah.
And so within the context of a company class, it feels very easy and safe because I feel like I'm sharing it to peers and there's more of a sense of like
sharing.
Yeah, exactly. I come and I just share a training.
Yeah.
This is my training.
Yeah.
But I do hope to kind of invest more into pedagogy or into, because I'm so fascinated about this stuff.
Yeah.
About how we learn. I have endless conversations with sort of various friends of mine about this and about how you teach. And through this project, we've also been involved with kind of research people, and have been writing applications. So I've been taking a lot of time to sort of speak about the mechanisms of pedagogy and how also you make training feel more reachable. And I mean, it's like there's a whole research project, but it's been very soothing and healing actually to sort of be in those spaces and be able to sort of speak about the kind of mechanisms of learning and of practice. And has, I think, also given me a lot of clarity about how I want to kind of install practice into my life. I mean, it's another way of making space for me. Of like, how do you just make space for training to happen?
Yeah.
Without this pressure of like, you have to be a certain way, you have to pay a certain amount.
Yeah.
That was what we wanted. We wanted a space where you could just turn up. And it feels really radical sometimes, actually. And that's very joyful.
Do you have inspirations and recommendations?
Oh my God. Yeah. What sort of things are you looking for? Anything. Okay.
Can be a book, can be someone's work,
Oh my
can
God.
be...
Okay. Oh, you know what? No, I will give a shout out to a piece of work that I made a tiny little dance for.
Mm-hmm.
But it's called We Move in Close Circles. It's authored by 4 artists, Paul, Paschal, Rohanne, Udall, Orley Quick and Sam Pardes. And it takes place in houses. And so in the sort of form of a party, I guess. So the host sort of holds a party and you go along. I saw an initial tryout some years ago, and then I went to see it again in Hastings a few months ago. And they have all of this beautiful kind of language around care and speaking about actually the violence of care. And it made me laugh a lot. It had this sort of anarchic quality, which I found really joyful. It finds a way to give voice to audience in a way that I've never really seen, actually, unless people are very drunk. But yeah, so this work is touring around at the moment. I think you can even contact them and like host it in your house if you want.
Wow.
So yeah, there's one recommendation. What have I been listening to? Maybe I can give a music one.
Oh yeah, I would love a music one.
I mean, I've been obsessed with CMAT. Have you seen this musician?
No.
That's been someone I've been listening to a lot recently. She's got a new album out, so that felt exciting. But she doesn't need the recommendation, like, you know, she's selling out Shepherd's Bush Empire, I think, or some big London venue, like, so she's doing fine. But yeah.
Okay, random questions of the end. What makes you laugh?
Obviously, my dad, like, you know, makes people laugh for a living.
Yeah.
But there's a particular, like, annoyance. Like, sometimes he'll get annoyed about something. Something very pointless, stupid. And he becomes sort of beautifully pathetic.
Yeah.
And it makes my mum laugh like nothing else.
Oh, wow.
And it's true that I also find it extremely funny.
Yes.
Because I suppose he just becomes a child in this moment. This like 60-year-old man is reduced to a 5-year-old because he's slightly inconvenienced, and it is hysterical to me.
So funny.
So yeah.
Do you believe in talent?
I want to. Yeah, I want to. I think it's a bit of a distraction often, because I think you need so much. Everything takes work.
Yeah.
But I want to still believe in talent.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like finding an initial spark can be what keeps you going, I suppose. And it's also really nice to watch people be good at things.
Yeah.
Like, I also feel, you know, we're sort of losing this somehow, or not losing it, but how do we fight for it? That in an era of the importance of the idea, which is still, you know, massive. But how do we
just
also,
the beauty of...
How do we also say, you know, it's, I guess, the difference between an art and a craft. And I think there's a meeting point, there's a middle ground. But I think about how maybe some of my interests are more, or I come to them more as crafts. And then art is a kind of process, you know, kind of...
It's almost like a magical...
Yeah, I don't know.
Happens,
Yeah, exactly. Something more ephemeral.
Yeah.
But I do love to watch people be really good at stuff. Yeah.
If you could have dinner with anyone, alive or dead, who would it be?
I mean, this feels like such a wanky answer. I know she gets a lot of hate.
I'm so curious now.
From artists, yeah. But like, I find there's something so beguiling about Marina Abramović.
I knew you were
really.
about to say that.
It feels so predictable.
No, I just, when you mentioned that she was overrated, I was like,
yeah, exactly.
It has to be her because she's so huge.
And I think she is totally overrated, because I think there are so many interesting people working in the field of performance art.
But she's definitely really interesting as well.
There is something so interesting. She also, you know, has this like, Eastern European dropping of articles and general like dismissal of the world, which I just find fascinating.
That's so true.
and she was being interviewed, and she had this question of like, would you rather go to dinner with Greta Gerwig, the Barbie director, or Kim Kardashian? And she was like, neither one of them. I'm not interested in Barbie because it's capitalism. I come from socialist state, and I've had dinner with Kim already. And I was just like, there's something so sort of refreshing about this. I enjoy how she pushes back at stuff, but extremely overrated. So it's not a great answer, but that's what I gave.
I love it. If you could live a parallel life, so it's like a bonus life, what would you do?
I think I'd study like archaeology or like history or something. I think I'm just so taken by character and these sort of mechanisms, but I'd want to do it in a different way. Or, I mean, I have this fantasy about going to live on a boat. I'd love to do that.
Oh, wow.
But and maybe that can still happen in this life. Let's see.
Oh.
Yeah. That doesn't come with a life. It's just a, accommodation.
Any dream for the future, apart from the boat?
Apart from the barge? Well, I suppose just like something about keeping going.
Yeah.
I guess I'm on a more like ongoing quest for sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, this feels like the kind of a real theme of like, okay, I have this life that I'm so grateful for and I'm very lucky to have, but is not super sustainable also, or requires a flexibility, which I don't know how many years of that I have in me, or how many years of that I want to have. So I suppose, it's like to have the life I have now, but have it better paid with less unknowns, a bit more grounded. And ideally working in a kind of artistic ecosystem which doesn't feel like it's crumbling quite so much. Would also be lovely. Or to just feel like the infrastructure around us is not, at breaking point. That would be great.
That'd be nice.
But that's complex. We'll see how that one goes. In the UK or in Europe. I mean, it's all up for... It all has to be defended. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It was so nice.
Lovely. Thank you very much.